there! My name is Tori Lupinek, and you are listening to The Unclassical Musician, the podcast empowering the new generation of classical musicians to take risks and live a fulfilling life. Each week, we dive in headfirst into a topic on the minds of young professional musicians and come out the other side with a new perspective on life as an artist. Hello, unclassical musicians. It's me again, Tori Lupinek. I know it's been a week, but I am super happy to be here talking to you today in your ears or however you're listening. And I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. This episode is dropping on December 22nd, 2022, so you've got just a few more days until Christmas, and then before you know it, it's going to be 2021. Wow. Yay. I'm excited. So today we're going to be talking about something that affects 70% of adults, and I did not know this term until just a few years ago, but for something that's so prevalent in our society, like you would think that we would know more about it in our everyday life, but people kind of keep it under wraps. And that is imposter syndrome. You might have heard it before, you might be a little familiar with it, but chances are you have felt some imposterist feelings before, especially if you are recently graduated, recently moving from being a student to a professional and joining the workforce. I first started realizing I was feeling some imposter syndrome when I started my artist diploma and was teaching music theory and aural skills as a TA. Even though I had always excelled in these areas and was fully capable of teaching the material, I was struggling with time management and feeling like I wasn't cut out for being an academic TA. Coupled with not practicing very much because of the time suck my TA-ship was, I was also feeling impostery about being a professional flutist, which is what my degree was in. It was definitely a period of growing pains, beginning to move from viewing myself as a student to viewing myself as a professional. And if you want to hear more gory details about that part of my life, you can go back and listen to episode 1 of The Unclassical Musician, where I kind of go through how I went from being a student to a flute teacher living in Houston. So, what is imposter syndrome? A lot of the information from this episode was taken from a Psychology Today article on imposter syndrome, and I'll put the link in the show notes for you, so if you want to read more about it, you have that resource. People who struggle with imposter syndrome believe that they are undeserving of their achievements and the high esteem in which they are, in fact, generally held. They feel that they aren't as competent or intelligent as others might think, and soon enough, people will discover the truth about them. Those with imposter syndrome are often well accomplished. They may hold high office or have numerous academic degrees. In other words, when we're feeling imposter syndrome, we aren't taking pride in our own work for our accomplishments, and instead, we're attributing the success to outside factors, including luck, right place, right time, just happened to be the most prepared, those kinds of reasonings. What causes imposter syndrome? Actually, personality traits. Personality traits largely drive imposter syndrome. Those who experience it struggle with self-efficacy, perfectionism, and neuroticism. Competitive environments can also lay the groundwork. For example, many people who go on to develop feelings of imposterism face intense pressure about academic achievement from their parents in childhood. Remember last week when we were talking about performance anxiety and how it's related to self-confidence in episode 7? Sounds like performance anxiety and imposter syndrome are sort of like cousins, right? I also think that as musicians, we are trained to be perfectionists. Observe every single marking on the page. Listen back to yourself until it sounds exactly as you want it. Cycles like that, recording yourself, creating practice schedules, writing down the exact schedule of events on the day of an audition so there's no room for anything to go wrong. That's all neuroticism. Competitive environments? Forget about it. That's our lives. That's how we live. Not to mention that many classical musicians were also academic overachievers as children, right? So it's no wonder that 25 to 30% of high achievers and 70% of adults experience imposter syndrome. Sometimes these feelings of imposter syndrome can also cause fear of success. That sounds pretty oxymoronic to say, right? Fear of success. We all want to be successful, right? Why would we be afraid of being successful? If you succeed, you might be afraid because then that may require you to move out of your comfort zone. For instance, you might fear taking on new responsibility like playing principal flute of a major orchestra. Hello, lots of responsibility. Or fear making a mistake in your new position, like hello, tenure process. Or fear shifting your identity, like hello, going from a starving artist to being a salaried professional with health benefits. Keep in mind that you are likely having these thoughts before you've even taken the audition or gone in for the interview or even made it past the resume round. But all of these thoughts have run through my brain at some point or another. Speaking them out loud does sound ridiculous, but I know that I'm not the only one here. Imposterism very obviously holds us back from achieving our full potential. The root cause of imposterism is in our mindset. Our thoughts oftentimes prove themselves to be true. So if we believe that we are not qualified enough and go into an audition or an interview with that mindset, then of course we're not going to get the job. If we don't even believe we're qualified, how the heck are we then going to convince a panel that we deserve the job? Right? You have to at least believe in yourself. And imposterism and those feelings are you not believing in yourself. Because you've been held to a very high standard for so long. So it might be helpful to try on a new hat. Change your identity in a way. I'm not saying like go into witness protection. I'm saying identify yourself as a principal flutist. Identify yourself as whatever position you're auditioning or interviewing for. For a long time, I did not identify as a flute teacher. I was a flutist on the audition circuit who taught lessons to make money. I know there are many other people out there who find themselves in that same situation. But as soon as I started identifying with the title of flute teacher, I took that job much more seriously, and I wanted to be very good at it. I wanted to achieve my potential at being the best flute teacher that I possibly could. Because I'm a musician and have perfectionist tendencies, when I started this podcast, I identified as a flute teacher. And I definitely had some imposter syndrome feelings around creating a show. And even sometimes now, I still think, who wants to listen to what I have to say? Right? And even when people commend me and like they say that they really enjoy the show and they end up saying something like, I can't believe that anyone would listen to me go on about what I have to say. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Me too. I feel that. When I started to think of myself as an entrepreneur with multiple different projects and income streams, like a real entrepreneur, not just like a music entrepreneur, like a real business entrepreneur, all of a sudden, the process became much easier, and I had way more confidence in the unclassical musician and myself as a podcaster. For those of you listening, if you find yourself with these deep feelings of imposter syndrome or feeling like you're not good enough or like suffering from a lack of confidence because you've been beaten down so many times over the years as a musician, I encourage you to release perfectionism, release the neuroticism that comes from being a professional musician. Seek guidance if you need help building yourself up after being torn down by music school or the pandemic. Remind yourself that you are qualified. You've worked hard. You have these degrees. You know what you're doing, and you deserve the success that you have in life. And with that, as we wrap up this last little episode of the Unclassical Musician for the year 2020, 8 episodes in 2020. Wow. I am very excited to announce that I am offering one-on-one coaching services for musicians beginning in January 2021. Coaching with me includes anything from talking through some mental blocks, someone to bounce business ideas off of, lessons and coachings for auditions, all instruments welcome, help with devising a livable schedule that includes self-care, pretty much anything that we have discussed so far on these heavy-hitting monologue episodes in 2020. If you would like to sign up for a free 15-minute intro session with me in January to kick off 2021 with some strong personal groundwork to build your best year yet, you can click the link in the show notes or just DM me on Instagram, Tori Lupinek Flutist, or just email me, tori@torilupinek.com. I am really excited to extend this offer and can't wait to hear from you. Looking ahead to what's coming up on the Unclassical Musician next year, I am very excited to start bringing you meaningful discussions with friends of mine from around the Zoomosphere. Just to drop a few names real quick, you can expect to hear from the functional musician Austin Pantsner, Tyler Martin, flutist extraordinaire, Chelsea Tanner, mindset coach for musicians, and Jess Voigt Page, musician business and career success coach. And that's just to name a few. That's just to get us started. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. And if you haven't yet joined the Unclassical Musicians Facebook group, you're going to want to go ahead and do that because I'm going to start putting out some special offers to that group specifically. So it's only going to be like my VIP people. So if you want to get in on that, you're going to want to go ahead and jump on that, the Unclassical Musicians Facebook group. That link will be in the show notes. And as always, if there's a topic that you want to see covered on the show for next year, I'm going to put the topic request form link in the show notes, or literally just, DM me or email me if there's something on your mind that you would like to hear discussed. And I hope that this December, I know we're missing out on a lot of gigs. I know Gig Miss is not what it usually is, but I really hope that you are taking this time to do a little reflecting on what 2020 has brought you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how you want to move forward with your life and your career in 2021. Think ahead 1 year from now, at the end of 2021. What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be? How do you want to be making money? How do you want to feel? I know I'm going to be sitting down with my journal in between now and probably like the first few days of 2021 and seriously start thinking about these things, because we have already given up 9 months of our lives to this coronavirus situation, and none of us deserve to give it another month. I don't want us to keep going on with this. So consider this my little pump up for you today as we finish out the year. Okay, happy holidays, everyone, and happy new year, and I'll see you in 2021. Bye.